What's going on, everyone? So today we had Rigetti earnings, and tomorrow we have BigBear.ai earnings. So we had what is this color, you guys, on the screen right now? What, green? I thought the stock market was always supposed to be red. Maybe that's a little bit of recency bias, but it was really nice to see some recovery in the stock market today. Lots of tickers, green, and some very, very green. Great to see. Hopefully we see more of it. So I want to cover what happened with Rigetti earnings. We're going to dive into that a little bit. And we're also going to talk about earnings tomorrow for BigBear.ai. So we're going to cover both those stocks. It's going to be a quick one. We're going to cover a lot. Hope you enjoy this content, and let's dive right in. All right. So for our quantum stocks today, we saw a nice move for ARQQ, which has been a cybersecurity play, ticker we've covered on this channel for quite a while. QBTS had a nice move, 5%. Rigetti pre-earnings, 4%. And Microsoft, Amazon, IonQ, Google, and even QUBT posted a green day. So nice to see some of those stocks in the green. All right. So Rigetti today reported Q4 2024 loss, and the stock has fallen after hours. So let's dive in to exactly what those numbers look like, and I'll give you my opinion on what this means for the stock in the near future. All right, so Rigetti posted an earnings miss with an EPS of 68 cents against a forecast of -8 cents. Revenues also fell at 2.3 million compared to an estimated 2.52 million. Following the announcement, Rigetti's stock dropped 8.44% in after-hours trading, closing at 749. Let's double check in extended hours and see if that is still the case. So Rigetti's actually down 11% after hours. All right, so let's dive into this earnings call a little bit more. We had an EPS significantly below expectation, and the expectation wasn't that high in the first place. Revenue decreased 2.3 million from 3.4 million in the same quarter last year. The company launched a new Anka 3 84-qubit quantum system and reported advancements in quantum technology. Rigetti raised $153 million through equity offerings, bolstering its cash reserves to $217.2 million. So if you want to see a silver lining, that's probably it right there. The cash reserves, Rigetti remains strong in cash. Looks like gross margins are down. Total operating expenses were slightly reduced, which is pretty good. And we're down on revenue. So and then in the earnings call, we have Dr. Kulkarni emphasizing the long-term vision, saying we're still about 4 to 5 years away from before commercial sales matter. So our view is that chiplets is a key tool that we're planning on using to scale up. So I don't think any of this really changes the story about Rigetti. If you're buying Rigetti in 2024 or 2025, you're buying the promise of tomorrow, not the financial strength today. And sometimes that's what investment is it's speculation a little bit that a company is in the right sector that you believe in. It's pursuing a technology that you believe in, and you feel that the company has good leadership, good financial model, and that there's a future where more money will come. Now, by the time you get to the point where there is more funding and more money, then the stock is much more expensive. So when you're an early investor to a stock like this, we even have Dr. Kulkarni saying investors must check expect. Dr. Kulkarni alluded to investors that they should tamp down their expectations because by that point, they already knew what their quarter four financials look like, and they didn't want investors going too crazy and having too high of expectations. Does this change the long story of Rigetti? Not at all. Not at all. If anything, what it shows you is the CEO is open with the investors and honest. Need to do as investors is have realistic expectations. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. Quantum computing is a difficult and challenging problem. If it was an easy problem, we would already have quantum computers everywhere. So the way Rigetti is approaching quantum computing, as I've covered on this channel before, with their modular approach, will allow them to pivot into partnerships. It will allow them to be a supplier. It will allow them to be a servicer in this space. And we saw that most recently with the Quanta partnership with Rigetti, and Quanta is a much bigger company. So this, if you haven't seen this, the Taiwanese server manufacturer Quanta partnered with Rigetti to accelerate the development and commercialization of superconducting quantum computing. According to Rigetti, both companies have agreed to invest more than $100 million over the next 5 years to develop the technology, with Quanta also set to invest $35 million and purchase shares of Rigetti. Very cool to see that investment. For me personally, if the stock goes on sale, if there's sell-off, that's an opportunity to build my position and pick up more shares because I believe in the long story of Rigetti. I believe in their approach as a business, and I'm happy to continue adding shares, especially if they're at a discount. All right, so let's take a look at BigBear.ai. So for those of you who haven't seen or heard of BigBear.ai, which is probably very few of you, if you follow the stock market closely, Big Bear has definitely been making headlines. And Big Bear is a partner of Palantir. They're in national security, supply chain, digital identity. You can see them at Chicago Airport when you fly through. Essentially, Big Bear provides decision intelligence and is trusted by leaders in government and defense. So the big question for Big Bear is, are their financials improving? So let's go back to December 2023, and we saw decent financials. Then we saw some diluted earnings per share, net income going down. Then we had a decent summer compared to the previous quarter. Then we saw reduced net income, more dilution. Now we're getting financials tomorrow, but we've seen some pretty big deals. Big Bear has had deals with the Department of Defense, and although it's much smaller than Palantir at the moment, you got to start somewhere. And if you believe in the theme of AI and you think AI and technology is going to be part of our defense, part of our border, then BigBear.ai is a really interesting play. I want to take us into the chart a little bit and just kind of look at how this manifested. FOMO, for sure, that set in here, but we had some explosive moves. We had an explosive move out of Big Bear just last month, just 1 month ago. We had a almost 30% move. We started the day gapping up on the deal. So on February 5th, 2025, BigBear.ai announced this Department of Defense contract. And what happened to the stock price? Well, at that point in time, investors were looking for the next Palantir, and there were a lot of really positive articles and comparisons, and you saw a big jump. In fact, We closed the previous session at 489 and we jump all the way to 757 in one trading session after that announcement. So then we see Big Bear go all the way up to $9.67 and finally at its peak at $10.36. And it held its position, created a decent support here at around $8, but with macroeconomic pressures and wider weakness in the market, it slowly sold off. So now the question is, what happens here? So it's really simple. It's really simple, guys. Let's just make this simple. If they have good quarterlies, then we're going to see a move like this. And it's not going to see this level at 480 maybe for a very long time. Now, if they miss quarterlies, if there's weakness in the financials, then sure, it could stay at this level. It could go down a little bit, but there's a lot of institutional investors in Big Bear at this time. As long as the story stays intact about Big Bear, which is the future of defense, border, using AI as a tool for security in airports and otherwise in the military, then I think we'll see a nice run out of Big Bear. So really looking forward to seeing the earnings call. And that is all I have for you all. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you enjoy content like this and you feel that I've earned it, please consider leaving a like or subscribe. That really helps me out. I'm a small channel just trying to grow. And I hope you all have a great day